In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Jango Fett for the vintage collection. So I've been really wanting to get Jango Fett on the reviewed on the channel for a long time now, and it's a shame I haven't gotten to him up until now. But nonetheless, he's here now, and we'll have plenty more videos of him being featured in the future. Between the TVC one and some of the other ones that were released in the 3 3/4 inch line, and I also have the Black Series ones and the Hot Toys one. So those will all be coming here really soon. Personally, I would rate Jango Fett easily within the top 10, maybe even the top 5 of my personal favorite Star Wars characters in all the Star Wars. I've always been a big fan of him. The video game Star Wars Bounty Hunter has always been influential for me, and I have a lot of great memories of that game. It's very reminiscent for me, and I like to think I can identify with Jango Fett in many ways. So I think he's a really cool character, and Tamora Morrison, I think, is a fantastic actor for the part. And for this action figure here, he's really nice as well. There are a lot of people calling for an update to Jango Fett at this point, and even go to so far as to say we need an all-new Jango Fett from the ground up. And I can agree with that. I can see some of the issues with this one, mainly being in the articulation and a little bit of the sculpting work. But still, I do think this is the best Jango Fett that we've gotten to date, for a 3 3/4 inch, that is. It's really nice, and it's packed with a lot of accessories. Now, he was released in the TVC 1.0 line. I'm trying to think what number he was. I'm pretty sure he was in the 30s, I can tell you that. It was during the Attack of the Clones wave with Peasant Disguise Anakin and Peasant Disguise Padme and Kit Fisto, Senegard, Super Battle Droid, Mace Windu, all those ones. He may have been figure number 34, I want to say. Might be wrong, but I know it's pretty close to that. I don't have the package here to show you anymore, unfortunately. I wish I did, because it's a really nice package. I did get this brand new around 2017, actually, and I only paid like $30 in free shipping for it. Between Jango Fett here and the ARC Trooper Commander or Captain Fordo, they were those action figures for the longest time, even up until the last couple years, where you can either find a really cheap and for a good deal on eBay, or he's going to be outrageously expensive. And I think in the last 3 or 4 years or so, he's just gone, between the two action figures, they've just gone solely in the outrageously expensive category. Between Jango here and Captain Fordo, I actually got those about $30 in free shipping each at the time, which, yes, it's a little steep in price for an action figure, but for the characters they are and for the demand they usually go for, I think that's a pretty good deal. And who knows, maybe you'll be able to get on eBay and find a decent deal for him. And the card I got wasn't mint either. I think it may have been wrinkled and seen some better days. And I intended on opening this anyway, so it was a perfect deal for me. And I'm glad I have him. So let's just go ahead and take a closer look at him then. So for the most part, he is reusing older parts from the Fett Legacy pack. That's right here. And we'll compare both of them here in a little bit. He does have a fresh paint job, and it does look a lot better, more crisp. And he also has a different jetpack. And he does have some extra accessories on him. Most notably is on his forearms here, when he has those blades pop out. Hasbro, for this action figure, went ahead and sculpted them in. Well, this one's not. It's nice to have both, so you can display them in various ways if you want to. Personally, I really like the sculpt. I think it's pretty accurate to Jango Fett. Can't take his helmet off here. And for both these action figures, they do have the same head sculpt. As you can see, the paint is much different between the two. The TVC one's a lot more crisper, a lot more cleaned up, and the eyes are much more defined. As for the helmets here, the Fett Legacy Pack Jango has a little bit more of a metallic look to it, while this one looks more plain silver. And I think the blue is much lighter on the Fett Legacy one, while this one has more of an indigo look to it. Has his holsters here, and it's attached to his belt, which is all one accessory. And generally his blasters here do fit pretty good. Sometimes if you leave his blasters in the holsters for too long, they get kind of stuck, and then you gotta work with it. As for the jetpack here, this is the first jetpack that we see with Jango. While on the Fett Legacy pack, he has the one that's on Geonosis. Kind of similar to the Black Series, where the first release had this one, and then the Gaming Greats one had this one. And you can swap them out if you want. If you want this Jango with this jetpack, or vice versa, you can make that happen. But an interesting detail about this is they went ahead and made the missile so it can pop out. And they even put a little flame effect on the back of it where you can simulate it blasting at Obi-Wan as he's confronting him during the escape of Kamino. Nice detail on Hasbro's part. I really like that. As for other accessories here, both these Jangos do come with a headset here. While the Fett Legacy one is just completely silver, or gray as you see there, this one is gray on the outside while it's indigo on the inside. So that's how you tell the difference between the two. And it does fit pretty good around his head. Fits like a glove. So if you have Slave 1, it's an essential accessory to have. Then for the last accessory here, he comes with his poncho, which I don't recall seeing Jango with this in the movie at all. Oftentimes that's an accessory that ends up coming with all the Jango action figures. And the way you put it on is, it's got to be something like this. Let's see if I can do it here. Alright, it takes a little bit to work with, but we did it. So you have to take the jetpack off, and it does have a hole in the poncho where you can put it back on. And it looks pretty good. It is a little bit of a pain to get it off. Actually, it took me maybe about 3 or 4 minutes to do that. And the hardest part is just getting it over the blades on his forearms there. So in terms of articulation, he does have a ball joint at the head, and hinged shoulders and elbows. The elbows are a little restricted. You can't really go quite 90 degrees. And it's a little bit an awkward angle. As you can see, you can't really get him to hold his pistols completely straight. So that is one thing. He does have a swivel forearms though, but it's kind of restricted because of the tubes there. He does have a joint at the torso, and swivel hips, and hinged knees and hinged ankles. That is one thing that Jango could use an upgrade on, is the hinged knees. He's known for his dynamic poses, so it would only make sense. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it for Jango. As for the Fett Legacy Pack Jango here, I will review that along with the other two action figures at some point. So we'll be on the lookout for that someday at least. I think I've told you everything I could tell you about Jango Fett for the vintage collection here. Would I recommend him for your collection? If you really want him and you're not concerned about the price behind it, then yes, I would say go for him. It's a very nice action figure, and I wouldn't hold out on Hasbro getting a new one out anytime soon at least. They have mentioned before that, oh, if we make a new Jango Fett, we're going to have to take all this money from tooling costs, so they made it sound like it was going to be a big issue to try and get them made, so maybe take it with a grain of salt with Hasbro producing a new Jango Fett here soon. So you might want to just go ahead and get the original if you've been holding out on it. For the Fett Legacy Pack one here, it's just as good as the same exact action figure other than the paint, and he is a little bit more affordable. But there are plenty of other Jango Fetts out there. There's some back in 2002 during the Attack of the Clones line. Lots of good Jangos there. There was a couple in the Saga Legends line that was featuring the poncho here. I don't think it's the best Jango that they've made, but it's good enough, and typically it's not too expensive. So if you're just wanting one Jango Fett for your collection, there's plenty of affordable options out there. But if you're wanting the best of the best, that remains to be the TBC one here for the time being. So it's a solid action figure. I like it for what it is. Do I want an update for Jango Fett? Sure. But if we never got one, the one we have now is alright for what it is. So that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will be lots more to come. And if you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate your support. And check out some of the links in the description as well. Thanks for watching.